It's a dumb day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast has admitted that their new secret lair is an absolute embarrassment. So much so that they're willing to give you a discount if you're foolish enough to buy it. This has never happened before. On top of that, the new Markov Manor set is failing miserably.
Magic. History. I'm an old wizard. The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a hilarious installment of Mega Magic News. Wizards of the Coast rarely messes up on the level we're going to talk about, which is crazy because they're setting a land speed record for mistake making. Let's take the Markov Manor as an example. Karlov Manor. Did you know everybody calls it Markov Manor? People are telling me their LGSs are sending out emails with Markov Manor. That's the smallest problem with this set. So I've got a list of all of the issues that are causing the flagging sales. We're going to talk about that. I got a little surprise for you, and then we're going to look at the absolute insanity of the secret lair that Wizards of the Coast described themselves as embarrassing. All right, so let's start with the Markov Manor stuff. This is, in no particular order, a litany of reasons that this set is failing, okay? First of all, is just the lead up to this set. Wizards of the Coast has constantly been cranking products, and there were a bunch of people who didn't even realize that this is a premier standard release. Now that's a big problem, them releasing this kind of a set as a standard release when it really should have been like one of those side summer kind of products where like, check it out, we're doing this crazy mystery and we've got this extra clue product going with it, but instead they churned it into one of their main releases, and the set design is not good, right? The way it's all put together with a bunch of disparate parts, it's all stapled together. So it doesn't have inner cohesion. Now, that's not to say that nobody is enjoying it. It's not like absolutely nobody wants it, but sales are down considerably. There have already been fire sales. In some places, they're saying 50% the amount of sales from previous sets. Now, obviously, that varies from location to location. I actually had somebody say, this is really doing banger for me, and it went fantastically at my shop. But I've heard that from one person, and I've heard a ton of negative comments elsewhere. So I feel like there may be some outliers where things are going okay, but overall, this is not going well. The set wasn't designed well. It has poor quality in terms of the actual cards themselves. You can feel grit on the cards. The edges of the foils are all banged up and they're really not well made. So you have that issue. Again, the whole disparate nature with the mismatched artwork. You've got Ravnica and Capenna, which are stapled together. But then sprinkled on top of that, you have random artwork from other places as well, where it feels like, wait, is this Innistrad over here? Like it's very, very random and very, very obvious. And on top of that, the actual cards in the set that matter, there's only a few mythics that matter. Because understand, this set is coming into like a brand new environment. Before, Standard used to be a 2-year format. Now it's a 3-year format, which means it's harder to shake things up. It's harder to make an impact. And the rush nature of the set has left us with some clearly obviously useful cards. Like Delny is nothing to sneeze at, but at the same time, there's really not that much. I think this set might get better known for some kind of sleeper uncommon or common that comes out of the gate, because we've really seen some hardcore power creep with this set, right? Like some of the commons and uncommons are super strong. Now, we were given a little bit of heads up that this will be happening. If you don't know why it's happening, it's because of play boosters. Since Wizards said, yo, we're going to be switching from having draft boosters and set boosters into play boosters because people are missing out on the ability to draft and they're kind of ignoring draft boosters and we want to get those sales. So they tried to like merge the two. But ultimately, the feeling of these boosters doesn't feel like set boosters. It feels like draft boosters that have been kind of watered down. When they told us about this originally, they said, well, you can expect what was it? Rosewater said, the expected dollar rare ratio remains the same. but it doesn't feel that way when you're opening the packs, right? Like these packs feel like the price of set booster packs, but they don't open like set booster packs. And yeah, you can draft with them, but we have the situation, and do other limited with them too, right? But you could do those set boosters. But you have a situation now where the power level of the commons and uncommons is moving up to try and make up for the fact that there's going to be more rares kicking around, but it doesn't feel like there are really that much more bombs in the environment overall, which means they're really just ratchet. Not only do we have crazy power creep that's layered onto the rares and mythics, but now it's leaking into the commons and uncommons. So we're going to go further down that road. Another thing that's hosting this set is the clue tie-in, obviously, right? Because it all has to feed around the clue tie-in, and it means Wizards spent time making garbage products like the clue box set, which is like 8 jumpstart packs that you pay $100 for. That's what it's like here. So that is a complete scam, and they spent time specifically designing cards, boxes, and everything for that, right? Like, we're living in there are new products coming every 4 seconds, and that has to be what caused the screw-up we're going to look at as well. But let's stay here where we are. The increased price of the product is causing a big sticking point for people. Depending on where you are, it's gone up by 30%, bro. So that's what it's like here. It has gone up hugely. And another issue with it is it's not Magic the Gathering. They say it's on Ravnica, and the story technically does have some characters from Ravnica, but does it feel like Ravnica? Does it feel like something that could even happen just in a regular Earth world? If you took the story of Karlov Manor, you could pretty much make it a regular Earth story with some really minor tweaks. They didn't lean in to the magical nature of the world. And honestly, when you're dealing with this sort of murder mystery and you literally have worlds where there are telepaths, you just go, so we've got a planeswalker who can just go grab a telepath whenever and sort this out in 4 seconds, but we're all just going to pretend like we need to go through all these different steps when this would all be solved. And it's just, there's an extra agency that's shoved into the middle too, where they just create a detective agency to jank in there. So ultimately, this is a symptom of the rushed speed of Magic the Gathering, where Hasbro needs to get as much money as humanly possible. And the only way they can think of to get it is from Wizards of the Coast. And you can't churn D&D like this, right? D&D can't go, hey, 2 months from now we're putting out 6th edition. Hey, 3 months from now we're putting out 7th. I know that would be a wild dream of theirs, but that'll never fly. D&D players just aren't monetizable the way Magic players are. But this is very much a diminishing returns world that we're in. When the main sets of the game, the ones that are supposed to be like the flavor of Magic, are just being shoved over to Clue. Like, you got to understand, so many of the main sets and stuff like that are already being given over to universes beyond, right? Like Lord of the Rings, for example. So they're already encroaching, and at least Lord of the Rings was high fantasy flavor, so it doesn't diverge too much. But we're going into Marvel territory, Fallout territory, all this stuff that moves further and further away from Magic. So when you're doing your actual in-world sets, it's incredibly important to put time and attention and love into it. But they absolutely didn't. As far as I'm concerned, this set has the least effort put into it on almost every level imaginable. The only exceptions to that are actually the story itself, where more effort was putting into written a coherent story than was on the cards. And the other thing that Wizards put effort into was the 12 different riddle clues that we have to figure out the detective stuff. But here's the problem, friends. It is not exciting people's imagination. If you go and look in different places like Reddit for posts about this and see the reactions, when something exciting happens, when there's spoilers, stuff like that, a post will rock. Whoa. Oh, that did not feel good. All right. So a post will rocket up the ranks. I got to learn not to swing my arms so wide. And when we have this one right here, where that was a little bit distracting, let me regain my focus here. So when we, I'm just gonna take a moment, go ice my hand for a second. All right, we're back. What I was trying to say before I smacked my hand is, you have fewer and fewer opportunities to deliver the actual flavor of Magic the Gathering and get people connected into that. And that's one of their biggest strengths, this monopolification of Magic, where they're just willing to slap any brand on it. It dilutes things, but if you're not going to put the effort into your main sets, this really has a knock-on effect, right? So I said that I have a surprise for you, and the surprise is a sponsor. Check it out. It's been a year since I originally got my Ridge wallet, and I have to say that the quality level on this is absolutely fantastic. No more fat wallets taking up space inside my jacket. I got this bad boy now. It holds up to 12 different cards. On top of that, it's got room for cash. It's got RFID protection. You can get an attachment for it to add air tags on if you want as well. And there are over 30 different colors to choose from. As far as I'm concerned, the real all-star from Ridge is the key case. It lets you put all your keys in one tight, tidy little unit. It's got an area for your fobs as well. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a key puncture a hole in one of your pockets and fall out on your way home, so you just lost your house key, but that's happened to me. This stops any of that from happening. On top of that, there's no jingling, and I've used this every single day. Use the link ridge.com/mybonesHurt to go grab yourself a wallet and a key case today. Big thank you to Ridge for sponsoring this video. All right, my friends, now it's time to talk about Wizards of the Coast's secret lair Embarrassment. Feast your eyes on this secret lair, friends. This is deceptive divination. Now, on the surface of it, you may remember actually in my last video, I was talking about how the booster fun style that they did for this set when it comes to the Karlov Manor was making all the cards look like they're white cards. Well, this takes that complaint and throws it in the trash because those cards actually feel way easier to sort out than these ones. On one hand, yes, this is secret lair and the cards can get all wonky and crazy, but honestly, look at this. Unless you're somebody who's super into the style, imagine this as a booster fun style done in a regular set. It would be completely whatever. Now, that's not the embarrassing part of this. I'm leaving it up for a moment for you to take a look and see if you can figure out where the embarrassment is, because it is literally front and center. This is amazing. Not only did they screw up horribly, but they put it on display right in the front. We are looking specifically at the card Circular Logic. Now, you might not be able to read it very well because these cards are difficult to parse out. I have the advantage of being the Magic historian and knowing so many cards from Magic's history that I just need to hear the card's name and I can tell you most of the card. In fact, we play a game over on my live streams. We see if you can stump me by naming a card that I don't know what it does, right? So, when it comes to Circular Logic, I know that it's a counterspell. I also know that it's an instant. Now, when you take a look at this Circular Logic, you can see, oh, that says sorcery. But wait, counterspells are spells you play to stop other people's spells. So it has to be instant speed. Sorcery speed makes it unplayable. So not only is this secret lair just a bunch of random crap, there's probably about $6 worth of cards in this secret lair if you're lucky. Not only that, but they completely messed up to the point where if you go to the secret lair website, there is literally a statement saying, hey, so we messed this one up and we're going to give you $5 off for this embarrassing mistake. And it is absolutely embarrassing and unacceptable. I can't even fathom how this genuinely happened. How do you end up putting sorcery on a card that is an instant? Did they have a completely different card that they were planning to use this artwork for? But instead, they just went ahead and switched it over to Circular Logic, but the previous card was a sorcery? I mean, the biggest mistake we've seen up until this point in this regard is the whole different borders. They put like a legendary border on a non-legendary creature, but this is next level. They've misprinted a card in a way that makes it actually unplayable. Now, the most technical people will go, well, they're actually, you know what, dude, it's got madness, and madness lets you cast it when you discard it, so it's not technically unplayable. This is unplayable. I don't care that madness lets you sidecast it. Although, on a side note, I absolutely love that the ability on the card is called Madness, because this is madness. We're looking at a secret lair where they can't even copy their own cards that they've printed before correctly in a way that invalidates the card. Not in a way, oops, we put the wrong artwork on like they did with the Jurassic Park secret lair, which is really obvious, but they won't admit to us. This is one where they just go, oh, oops, we made the card unusable. It is madness. So having madness is a perfect ability. On top of that, this secret lair is called deceptive divination. It's pretty deceptive to have the wrong card type on there, and as an added extra flavor level of amazingness, take a look at the artwork, friends. What is that infinity symbol comprised of? It is comprised of two snakes eating their own tails. And nothing is more emblematic of Magic right now than a snake eating its own tail. We are watching Magic digest itself. They are in such an insane rush to cram everything they can out that they don't take the time to make sure the cards are okay. And because, guess what, guys? Because this is not print to demand like previous secret layers, there's no fix in this. They've already been printed, and it affects both foil and non-foil. And on another insane note when it comes to this secret lair, I want to lay out something real weird for you guys. So, Wizards of the Coast used to do print to demand, where you could order it for like a whole month and they would fulfill any number of orders. And now they've switched it over, saying, okay, you got to order in advance because we printed it all, and that way we can get it to people faster. So this is when they've made the change. But we got secret layers at the last secret layers took like, they went out at the end of January. What was it? Like, it took like 4 or 5 days. They took 4 or 5 days to show up. I don't remember the exact time frame, but I know they showed up quite rapidly, and I was genuinely impressed. I got sick for like a whole month, so dates get all switched up in my mind. But either way, I specifically recall that the last batch of secret layers showed up so fast that I went, wow, Wizards is doing a really good job. It was like a week before they shipped them out. But now we have a scenario where they're going, you can order them now. They're not going to ship until March, like the first or second week of March. So we have them all now. You can order them now and pay for them. And we did this specifically so that you can get them faster, but we're going to ship them out slower than any other previous secret lair. And the most cynical part of me thinks that maybe they're doing that because they know how garbage it is, and they know as well that the bonus cards all suck, right? You know those extra soupity-doopity bonus cards where they're like, check it out, we're doing slivers, check it out, we're doing this, check it out, persistent petitioners with this crazy artwork. Those ones are kind of fun, actually. I do like the alternate art, rare petitioners and things like that. But ultimately, the bonus cards have been getting worse and worse. So are they sitting there going, let's let everybody order it. We've already got it here, but let's not ship it out until we actually get all the money and we're done selling it, right? Even then, if it doesn't say if it all sells out, they'll ship it earlier. So I don't know, is this partially to try and hide the whole mistake that happened with circular logic? I doubt it. It's probably to do with something else. They're always tweaking these different dials and knobs to try and get people to buy. But this new super drop that this secret layer is a part of is abysmal. It's the worst super drop so far, especially in terms of secondary market value. And remember, that is part of what Wizards used to sell us the concept of secret layer originally when they came out with the Bitter Blossom and everything like that. They're like, buy Bitter Blossom. It comes in its own secret layer. It's essentially the same cost as the secondary market. Now, they've never explicitly stated it, but we all know they're paying attention to the secondary market. But like I said, snake eating its own tail. They have bled the market out to the point where I think there's only a few cards that even break, there's maybe 1 or 2 cards right now that break the $10 range in the entire super drop. And this printing of them will take them all right down. So on one hand, it's great that Magic singles are becoming more affordable for people. But Wizards themselves is offering less and less value in terms of these secret layers. Their whole strategy of print a card in a secret layer, then reprint it a set afterwards, crater the secondary market, has worked quite well, but it's given them almost no new targets for these secret lairs where they have to try and go more and more out on a limb. So they're going to have to find other ways to generate value cards for people to chase, right? Serialized cards is one of the methods that they're taking. But either way, this paints an uglier picture for what's going on with Magic the Gathering as secret lairs produce less and less revenue for Wizards. Remember, this is the first secret lair drop that we've seen maybe in the entire history of secret lair drops that features no basic land super drops, or regular drops, I should say. There are no, just here you go, you get some mountains or a set of 5 different lands. None of that's in here. Wizards is trying. They literally okay, the lands ones aren't too hot. We'll just go with all other stuff. And even then, even going, check it out, we're going to give away a special promo Scorpion guide if you buy it. That thing is, nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's getting grim. Wizards is losing a bunch of customers, and they're telling their stockholders that they're going to bring in more money. We're facing headwinds, but don't worry, we're going to keep bringing that cash in because they specifically say that Magic has very high margins for them to draw on. So things are going to get uglier from here. Either way, that wraps up the news for the day. I'll be live streaming over on my other channel tonight if you want to come and hang out. Thanks for swinging by, my friends. Big shout out to my patrons. You guys rule, and I will see you all for the next video.